Hello, Gonzaga University parents and families. Welcome to Gonzaga University. My name is Ray Yangle, and I serve as the Assistant Vice President for Career and Professional Development. As part of today's orientation session, I want to share with you what we're going to cover. First of all, we're going to look at the successes of our previous graduates because I want to reassure you that a Gonzaga University education can really be beneficial. I'm going to talk a little bit about career development in general, what it was like in the past and what it's like now. Then I'm going to overview what we call the 5 E's of career development. And it's a conceptual framework that we use for understanding how to help, support, and encourage our students and alumni as they navigate their own career development. Then we're going to have a bit of a heart-to-heart about the kinds of things that you can do to be very supportive of your college student, especially as it relates to career development. And then we're going to look at some things that are not very helpful at all, or unhelpful behaviors. And I'm basically asking you to not do these things because they can be counterproductive. We're going to talk a little bit about career development as a journey and overview a little bit of information about career development being more than just jobs. So let's launch into how our students do when they leave here. We have a very supportive network of employers and alums who hire our students, or graduate schools that admit our students. And so on average, our students do very well, typically 15 to 16 percentage points better than the national average when we look at what we call first destination. First destination data is where we do surveys and research to find out where our students are going when they leave the university. And the kinds of things we look at are they employed? Are they continuing their education? Are they volunteering? Are they in the military? Are they taking time off? Or are they still seeking? So if you look at this data, we have a 4-year comparison in which we've looked at how well our students do. We break it up into graduate students, undergraduate students, and total. But since most of you are looking at graduate students, I'm going to direct your attention to the middle of the page here. When we look at our overall success rate for the past 4 years, it's continuing to steadily climb. In 2016, it was a 92% success rate, 93 in 2017, 2018, 94, and in 2019, we went to tenths of a percentage, so 94.3%. And you can see that 70.8% of our students were working, 16.6 were continuing ed, 4.6 were volunteering, 1.4 were in the military, fewer than 1% said that they were not seeking. So we were looking at an unemployment rate of about 5.7%. Certainly, we are curious to know what the class of 2020 is going to look like, especially since we are facing a global pandemic. But we are continuing to serve those students and collect data, and we'll be collecting data on that class through December of 2020. So hopefully your mind is at rest. You can actually look for more information about First Destination by using your web browser and typing in Gonzaga University First Destination Survey, and you can look at all of this data by undergrad, grad, and major. I encourage you to take a look at that and let me know if you have any questions. So now I want to talk a little bit about what career development was kind of like in the past and what our current day is like. So in the past, a college education was valued and somewhat rare. The employer-employee relationship was oftentimes long-term. A graduate went to work for an employer and stayed there for many years. And people perceived career development as linear. And when I say linear, what I mean by that is you go to college, you major in something, you get a job directly related to that major, and you do that thing until you die or retire. And what we know about American culture, it's anticipated that citizens in the US will change careers at a bare minimum 3 times in their lifetime. They'll change jobs many more times than that. So in the past, it was also considered that employment, once you were in, it was somewhat permanent. But over the past few decades, career development has really changed. A college education is valued, but it's much more common. The employer-employee relationship is oftentimes seen as short-term. And since we know that change is a part of career development, it's no longer a linear process. It's really a cyclical process where you're constantly reevaluating, are you in the right career field? Where can you take your skills? Those kinds of things. There was a book written even a couple of decades ago called Free Agent Nation. The author is Daniel Pink, and he was basically saying more and more people who are earning college degrees are working fairly independently and taking their skills that they develop to a variety of different employers. So we'll think of that as free agency. And I would say that even in a COVID-19 world, we'll probably see more of this with people working from home and marketing their skills to a variety of employers. Not that that's what we would prefer, but it seems to be a way that we're trending. So what I want to do is now talk to you about what we call the 5 E's of career development. So I just said that career development is not linear. And so we need to get rid of linear ways of thinking. And so what I want to do is introduce you to a cycle of career development that moves both forward and backward. And it's how we kind of look at how we're talking to your students. As a matter of fact, I'll be sharing this with your students during their orientation as well to get them thinking about what the future holds for them. So what I'm going to start is I'm going to start at the top of the cycle. And when we are talking about evaluation, what I'm asking students to do is to evaluate themselves. Who are they? What are their values, interests, personality, and skills? And I'd prefer that they not look at those in separate buckets, but start to integrate all of that together and really get a clear sense of who they are and what they can bring to the world of work. Once they've done a good evaluation, we ask them to explore the world of work. What is out there that might match what they know about themselves or what they learned in evaluation of self? I don't want you to think of this as a step 1, step 2 process, but it's a very fluid process where students may go back and forth between trying to understand themselves, what they bring to the world of work, and what's in the world of work that might match what they know about themselves. Once this is kind of fleshed out, at that point, your student should or will be making a decision about what they want to do career-wise, and then determining what major is best for them to map to that career. So once that happens, what I really want to happen is for your student to go experience what they have selected. So what we mean by experience is this: a part-time job, a summer job, an internship, an externship, a shadowing experience, a visiting an employer on one of our Trek programs, just something that exposes them to the career choice that they've just selected. What's sad is that with limited experience, what they're frequently doing is making decisions about career and what they want to do long-term based upon limited information. Have you ever made a decision about something in your head, but when you do it, it doesn't seem as exciting, or it's not at all what you were expecting? So this experiencing, what it does is it validates or invalidates the choice. If it validates it, then we're ready to move to the next E. If it invalidates it, the student may go back to exploration or evaluation to kind of select something else. Whether or not the choice, the career choice, is validated or invalidated, there's a great value in getting experience. And that value is it gives you experience to put on your resume, which always makes a student more attractive to a potential employer. So let's say you've had some experience, you've chosen the right thing, and then you start to move around the cycle to employment, and that is getting that job. Now, this is something that many people think is all that we do, that you go to career and professional development when you're getting ready to graduate and you want to get a job. But in reality, we are serving students from the day that they get on campus as they start to clarify and attain those educational and career goals that will move them closer to where they want to be. So we have activities going on all the time, workshops that we're doing, programs that we're implementing, positions, whether they're full-time or whether they're part-time or internship kinds of opportunities that we are making available to students. So let's say that you go out and you get a job and you do that work for 5 or 10 years. And then you decide this is not right for me anymore. The work has changed, I've changed. What we will oftentimes see is that people move back to the top of the cycle, starting to reevaluate who they are and what's a good fit for them. And so that's, I would say, a very normal process. But in the dead center of this is education, the final E of the 5 E's. And we certainly, as individuals who work in higher education, are proponents of lifelong learning. But what I would say is that lifelong learning is imperative so that you are always employable. When you stop learning, you stop becoming employable. And so I just want to encourage students to do that. So even though you've earned your bachelor's degree, I'm not saying you have to get a master's and a doctorate and keep going, but I would say that you have to always learn the tools that are needed in the world of work and that employers are saying that they're seeking. So you can't just stop when you earn your degree, can't stop learning. There are 2 elements that I think really determine how well a person navigates their own career development, and that is planning and chance. And so I want to talk about planning. If a student were to come to me, I would try to get a sense of where they are on the 5 E's and then help them create a plan to move through that cycle to the next E. I would also encourage everyone to think about Plan B. You know that many industries have been severely impacted by COVID-19. And while you may be preparing for some particular career, I think it's always good to kind of have a second idea of something that you might do if that didn't work out or you didn't like it anymore or was impacted by some economic indicator. So I would say, first of all, having a plan A and a plan B, and then chance. So there's a career development theory out there called planned happenstance. And what it basically says is this: we all end up where we are career-wise completely by chance. You're not born with it written on your forehead exactly what you're supposed to do career-wise. And you are on a journey to discover what it is that you have that you can bring to the world, in specifically the work that you do. And so I always want students to be open to chance, looking around at what other people do and asking them questions and being curious and not being really narrowly focused so that if this plan doesn't work out, what would I do? I want people to be curious and to be open to chance. And I would say that I am certainly a product of that. As an undergraduate, it took me 5 years to complete my degree, 161 credit hours and 6 different majors to basically figure out what I wanted to do, which I think helps me be empathetic for people who don't particularly know what they want to do. So if you have a student who is not sure, we have a variety of services to help them figure out what they might want to do and what they might want to major in. So that's the 5 E's of career development. Now let's start talking about some of the behaviors that you can exhibit that would be really helpful when approaching career development as a topic with your college student. And I would say, first of all, start by measuring your students' readiness and receptiveness first before you launch into a conversation. I will tell you there is a societal meme out there right now, and the meme is this: once you find your passion, you will never have to work a day in your life. And I'm going to ask you to try to stay away from that word passion and find. There's research out there that says when we tell people to find their passion, it's counterproductive because it almost feels like what I would call an Easter egg hunt, where we just say, go find an egg. And if you don't find one, well, that's just too bad. But instead, to help students develop a purpose, finding passion, developing purpose. So it's a little more, gives the student more agency when you say, go figure out what you want to do, develop what you want your life to look like. And so I'd say develop a purpose. And many times this passion meme is the thing that students talk to us about. Oh, I don't have a passion. Every one of my friends seems to have a passion, but I don't have one. And I would tend to argue that there are people who are my age who are still trying to figure out what they want to do, but at least they're trying to figure it out by experiencing the world. So just get a sense as to how sensitive your student is about this topic, and try not to launch into a conversation about career development that will create more stress between you and your student. I would say, think about the 5 E's. I mean, you'll have this video available to you, and if you want to go back and revisit the 5 E's, maybe you could talk to your student about where they are in the 5 E's, and then engage in non-threatening, curiosity-based conversation about them. So things like, so where do you think you are? Do you have ideas about what you should be doing next to move around the cycle? Have you thought about using the services of career and professional development? What can I do to be supportive of you? To kind of give them that freedom and agency to explore, but to know that we're here to be much more intentional with helping them explore through things like career assessments, shadowing experiences, mentors, a variety of things. So again, another helpful behavior. Encourage your student to study subjects that they enjoy. What we know from research is that students who do well and enjoy what they major in, they tend to do better academically, and success breeds success. So I have had students who have, whose parents had said, we're not paying for college unless you major in this, or philosophy, that's a crazy major. What are you going to do with that? And I would say, try to trust that your student will be able to map that major that they enjoy to a career. And certainly we're going to be here to help them. Help students reflect on ways to develop marketable skills. So we certainly know that employers are saying that there are skills out there that they want students to have, and the number one is problem solving. Some of the others that are out there that are through the NACE. NACE is our professional association. The National Association of Colleges and Employers has a list of 8 career readiness competencies, and they include things like problem solving, communication, intercultural competence, teamwork, leadership, career development. And if you want to do some research and look at those, I encourage you to do that. But then encourage students to develop skills in addition to thinking through career and majors, because skills are really what employers are focusing on. Discuss the importance of career-related experience. Many times this gets down to the conversation of internships. And so encourage your student to take an internship or to complete an internship. It doesn't have to be an academic internship. It can be an internship that isn't for credit, but gives them experience. So if you would like to talk to anyone in our office about internships, I do want you to realize we're happy to do that. But if your student is taking an internship for credit, that is an academic program, and the credit will be granted through their academic major. So, but do encourage them to do that. It doesn't have to be for credit, it can be just for experience. Discuss the importance of having multiple career options now and in the future. I've told you about having a plan A and a plan B, and I cannot tell you how much it's important for students to believe that they have options in the future. I'm just going to give you an example. If you have a student who's extraordinarily extroverted and interested in a lot of different things, many times one of the challenges they face is selecting a specific major and a career because they feel like they're saying no to so many things that really interest them. And a conversation that might be helpful here is to say, I know this is stressful for you, having to pick something and kind of pick a major and kind of move down that path. But because you're picking this major now and choosing this career path now, it doesn't mean you have to do that for the rest of your life. You may find that there are other things that interest you more, and as you get this experience, it opens doors in other areas. Certainly, I'm on my second of my 3 careers. My first career was as a teacher, but by chance, as an undergraduate, I worked in a career center and found that that was something that I wanted to pursue down the road, which is what I did. So having plan A and a plan B, you might even call plan B like a playful space where you just start to consider other things that might be interesting to you. Get students connected to successful professionals. So obviously, you have other people in your life other than your student. And if you know these individuals to be professionals that are successful, I would make every effort to get your student to talk to them about their work, what they do, how they got there, what advice they would give. We certainly have the Gonzaga Alumni Mentor Program, and we're going to encourage your student to find a mentor through that site. It's a website called Zags Connect. And they're going to give them advice. But I think the more advice and the more your student is free to ask questions, the more they'll be apt to engage in a really positive way in their career decision-making process. So now I'm turning, really want you to realize that we're switching from helpful behaviors to behaviors that are unhelpful. And first, I would ask you to not issue ultimatums regarding major selections or career choice. This is a thing that adds additional stress to college students. So I want you to major in this and only this, because this pays better, there's a higher need for it. I would say that doesn't really help. Trust your student to know the best path to design their life and their career for the future. If you want to talk to me specifically about frustrations that you have, that's fine. I'll be happy to talk to you about that. I will tell you this. If you want to talk to me or anybody on my staff, we kind of have one rule. We ask you to be aware that, one, we cannot share student data with you because it's protected by law. So you can't say or ask, how many times has my student been in your office, unless they've waived their rights to confidentiality. And if you ask us to reach out to your student, we will not say, oh, we're just sitting here wondering about you and thought we'd call. We will say, we got a call from your family member, and we're just following up to see how you're doing. And we'd like to encourage you to come in and chat with us. So we're happy to be a part of the process, but we don't really want to get engaged in dynamics where we're not being truthful with our students and with our parents. All right, another unhelpful behavior, and this is a little comical, but please do not interview in the career and job search process. Intervene in the career and job search process. So I've just given you a few examples of experiences that have actually happened in my 30-year career in college career services. I've had parents accompany their students to interviews, actually go into the waiting room and into the interview room, and then start to take over the interview. You do realize that that does not show that you've raised an independently competent student or son or daughter. So don't do that. Don't apply for jobs and internships on behalf of your student. I've had students give their passwords to some of our services to their parents, and the parents go on and start applying for jobs, but not telling the student that they've done it. And it gets really, it gets complicated. Don't contact employers on behalf of the student. I've actually gotten a call from an employer before saying, I had a parent call me to want to negotiate their son or daughter's salary. I made them an offer, but now I'm really thinking about not hiring them because that's something I expect them to have a conversation with me about. So give your son or daughter the agency to manage their career development. I do not mind if you nudge and encourage, but don't take over. That's really important. I've actually had parents come to career fairs and want to walk through the career fair with their student, and we're teaching them how to utilize career fairs in their job search, so they're going to do great. Don't communicate attitudes and ideas that suggest that career development is linear. I talked about this earlier. I'm going to reiterate it. So I want you to major in accounting because accounting directly relates to an accounting job, and those jobs are in good demand right now, so blah. And then you'll be a great accountant for the rest of your life, and you'll be promoted, you'll get your CPA. And it's kind of trying to lay out every aspect of an individual's future by saying, this is the way that it works. And we know that career development is not linear. I like this little graphic because it says people think it's this. I'm going straight up. It's going to be no problem. But what it really looks like, it's oftentimes very messy and it's nonlinear. And if you look at anybody in any successful position, you will see that there is not a standard step-by-step approach that everyone takes to get there. We actually have an individual who is a vice president at a major organization, in an employer in the Portland area. And he has often come to campus to talk to our students and talks about how he failed out of Gonzaga and ended up taking a year off and got back in, and he was a little more focused and he made it. And then his career path doesn't say this is the specific path that you have to take. It was a little messy. And sometimes we just have to be okay with a little messiness, knowing that we'll get there in the end. Don't expect all students to make career decisions at the same speed. Now, you may have several children or several family members who've gone to college, and some are very kind of driven and focused and on point and get through and are really successful. And they're making it in their careers. You may have other students, sons or daughters, who aren't developing at the same path or at the same rate. And you have to realize that there are people that even complete a four-year degree that struggle to really understand where they want to end up. They do ultimately get there, but just don't expect that everybody follows a prescribed path. So I do want you to realize that I think of career development as a journey, and that we all have our own career development journey. And if I could ever just sit down with you and chat with you about your journey, I'll bet I would find it really interesting. Many times when I'm talking to parents and family at orientation, I do this little exercise. And what I do is I say, how many of you, when you were your student's age, I'm going to say typical undergraduate traditional student, just graduated from high school this year, and now they're going to college. How many of you, when you graduated from high school, said what you would be doing, and you're doing that thing today exactly? Now, I'm not asking you to raise your hand now because this isn't interactive, but I've never had more than 10% of parents in a room raise their hand to that question. And then they realize, oh, I might be part of the challenge if I am imposing on my student these very linear ways of thinking. It didn't work that way for me. I ended up here quite by chance, or it took me a while to figure it out. Just continue to be very, very supportive of your student who's on this journey. Goodness knows, our office, Career and Professional Development, is going to be very supportive. Our alums are going to be supportive, and employers are going to be supportive. So I do want you to know that it's not just about employment and careers, but it's the preparation that happens after you leave the university. So it's more than just jobs. About 20% of Gonzaga University undergraduates go on to graduate or professional school. Some of the most common ones are accounting, law, medicine, veterinary, dental, the health professions, education, or something in the liberal arts or humanities. I do want to mention that this year well, actually say 2 years ago, we hired an individual to work in our office who works specifically with this group of students, the group of students who say, after I complete my degree, I want to go on. So her name is Catherine Brackman. And if you'd like to chat with her, you can find her on our website. But this year, we are bringing into our office a faculty member from the biology department. And this is not to say you have to major in biology, but this person is very helpful and has a lot of experience. He actually teaches with the University of Washington School of Medicine and at Gonzaga. And we are launching what's called the Health Professions Pathways Program. We're currently developing that website, but it's all about how can we be more supportive of all students who are thinking about a career in the health careers, whether it's medicine, dental, occupational therapy, physical therapy, physician's assistants, nursing, whatever it might be. We just want to be supportive of that. And we already have a pre-law advisor who's a faculty member if your student is thinking about pre-law. So we're not just thinking about career development as a jobs kind of thing. It's about what's the next step educationally. And of course, we're a Jesuit institution committed to social justice. And many of our students who graduate take time to volunteer, to work for organizations like AmeriCorps, Teach for America, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps. And we're so proud of them for taking that initiative and taking the time to serve the world in that way. So that is the extent of the presentation today. And I'm ending with this slide. It's the same one we started with because it has my email address. My email is really easy. It's my last name, angle, like a triangle, but without the tri, at gonzaga.edu. Or you can call me directly, and ooh, I see a typo here. It's 509-313-4086. There's an extra 5 in there. So I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to seeing you at some point individually on campus, maybe for a family weekend event. But wish you much luck as a family member of a Gonzaga student and look forward to hearing from you. You have a great day.